We have special guests with us, Lisa Savage. She retired from a career in public education in 2000 to run for the U.S. Senate as an independent in Maine, garnering 5% of the vote in the most expensive political campaign in the state's history. Currently, she continues a lifetime of peace advocacy by organizing and demonstrating from her home in Solon, Maine. Welcome to the show, Lisa Savage. Hi, Lisa.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Now, the reason
Great to see you.
Great to see you. Now, the reason you're on is because you're doing something not just about peace activism, but you're doing a tax day protest. There it is. Statewide coalition gathers on tax day to demand stop funding U.S. proxy war in Ukraine. So you bring those two things together. And statewide peace groups, political parties, and concerned citizens will rally in Topsham on Saturday, April 15th, to encourage the United States to stop supporting the war in Ukraine. The costs are enormous, $113 billion to date, with an additional $2.6 billion in weapons aid pledged this week, and more Mainers are speaking up to demand negotiations to end the war. Doug Rawlings, co-founder of Veterans for Peace in Maine, said, "We in Veterans for Peace are committed to abolishing war. Many of us who have experienced war firsthand empathize with soldiers who are suffering, no matter what government has sent them into the war zone. This war must end now for their sake as well as for the sake of all who are suffering through the horrors of war." Lisa Savage, founding member of Maine National Guard, is the lead organizer for the April 15th event. And here are your demands. Peace in Ukraine, no weapons, no money for the Ukraine war, abolish NATO and U.S. militarism and sanctions, fund people's needs, not the war machine, no war with China, protect Earth's environment from the deadly insult of war, U.S. aid to racist apartheid Israel, strong words, fight racism and bigotry, not war, U.S. hands off Haiti, and AFRICOM. I think I'm for all those things. So go ahead, Lisa.
Well, can I just say before we get too far into this that Rage Against the War Machine was very controversial here in Maine. Many of the peace groups that I have organized with for decades would not stand with us. I thought you were one of the best speakers, Jimmy, in D.C. We did an action here in Maine because we couldn't make it to D.C., but you and Nellie Mackay were really my favorites because you were super right on. And all the stuff you said, hey, what could this $100 billion, I think we were at then, have been spent on instead? And you had a ton of good ideas, but you were also very funny and entertaining. It was controversial here because people were like, I'm not standing with those people. And I think that was one of the things that you said, if I wasn't going to stand with libertarians, I couldn't do much of anything in Maine politically because, man, there are a lot of libertarians here. I'm even willing to stand next to Democrats, Republicans, communists, libertarians. If they are against this war in Ukraine and they want to end it immediately, I will stand with them. So that, that's where we're at.
Well, that was my point about, we're talking about nuclear war. So people who consider themselves peace activists for 20 years didn't want to get together with people they didn't like to try to end. It's like, yeah, I want to end nuclear war, but not with those people. It's like, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. And that just proved a lot of those people just to be cosplaying and not serious about anti-war or peace activities. And so you have a big thing going on. So it's tomorrow. And where can people meet you? We're
going to be in Topsham, which is kind of near on the way to Portland, but a little north of Portland. It's right on the interstate, I-95. And the closest big town is Brunswick, Maine, which is where Bowdoin College is. We're going to stand at a very large intersection with a lot of traffic. So we know that thousands of people will see our messages. Last time we got together last month in Westbrook, which is another kind of suburb of Portland, Maine, Maine's biggest city, 50 people showed up from every political party you could imagine, the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, a lot of diverse and surprisingly a good young crowd, which the boomers that have been against war since we were in high school are aging out now. It was very encouraging to see young people join us. So this time, we had 50 people last time. That was the photo that you showed. This time our Facebook event has 70 responses. So we are expecting the crowd to grow. It has grown each month when we have brought people together to say, no, the war on Ukraine. And really, since the last time we got together, Jimmy, this controversy just broke out in the Maine legislature. First, the Maine House and then the Maine Senate debated one of those feel-good resolutions where you go, we're going to fight to the last Ukrainian and the last U.S. dollar. Our legislature is controlled by the Democratic Party, as is the governorship. And there was a lively debate. More people voted against it this time around than they had last year. But in particular, this Republican senator named Eric Brakey gave a pretty rousing, very factually accurate, good speech on why the resolution was a bad idea. And then when he posted it to Twitter, back when Twitter was Twitter, he got 1 million views on this speech of his. So not only is sentiment in Maine turning against this horribly expensive, ridiculous proxy war against Russia, but sentiment nationally is, and all parties, people of all political persuasions are starting to realize, like, this is a morass. We need out of it now. And I'm happy that Eric Brakey said that. I'm not a Republican, but I'm also not a Putin propagandist, which for the entire year, every time I speak up against the war in Ukraine, saying, well, the RAND report, the think tank for the Pentagon already said in 2019, here's what we're going to do to Russia. And we all know that what they really want to do is weaken Russia so they can take on China. How is that good for the U.S.? We're already spending way more than 50% of our discretionary federal budget every fucking year. Can I say that? Sorry.
Sure.
On the military. And that's an undercount. Nuclear weapons are hidden in the energy budget. The VA is its own line, or its own budget line. And the Ukraine war isn't the Pentagon budget either. So we're way over 50%. And there are people sleeping on the sidewalk and little children going to bed hungry and cold here in this state and all around the nation. It's really time for it to come to a stop. Tax day is technically Tuesday, I think, because it falls on a Saturday this year. But we've protested on tax day many, many times saying, look what they're spending. Half of every dollar you pay in taxes is going right to some already wealthy defense contractor. That's the Pentagon.
Wow. Well, Lisa Savage, well said. And, it's people like you that get me, that make me think twice about humanity again, right? Like when I lose all faith and then I meet someone like you, it's very nice. So Lisa Savage is going to be out there tomorrow protesting the war, and as you should. Anything else you'd like to say?
Well, we're going to be at Topsom at the corner where Lee Toyota is. That would be the thing to put it in your GPS. We'll be there 1:30 to 2:30. So it'll be great to see everybody there. And, I really appreciate you helping us get the word out, Jimmy. My
pleasure. I appreciate you doing it. I love activists and organizers. Even though I was not a approved organizer for Force to Vote, I got a taste of organizing. But
yes, you did.
All right, Lisa. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Thanks a lot, Jimmy. Take care.
We're telling jokes in Nashville, Honolulu, Los Angeles, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, Cohoes, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, Baltimore, Chicago, Rosemont, San Diego, and more. Go to jimmydore.com to get a link for all those tickets. Plus, you can watch my new special, COVID Lies Are Funny.